Proof, first of all, is incredibly important because we live in a skeptical world, okay, more so than ever, and particularly in the online world, skepticism is high, trust is low, and trust is low particularly in healthcare, and sadly it's really low for us as chiropractors. And so if we're not using proof, we're missing an essential element that helps to convert people into care. Our marketing efforts often fall flat. Potential patients might scroll past our ads, our posts, they're unsure that they can trust us. Imagine, for instance, trying to convince somebody of the value of your care without showing any evidence. It's really like trying to sell a car but not letting somebody go for a test drive. Without proof, our messages can come across as generic, they can come across as unbelievable, and it's going to leave potential patients, people in your community, unconvinced and unlikely to take action. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Marketing in Practice podcast, the podcast where I have the pleasure of simplifying the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can increase your income, your impact, and your enjoyment in practice too. In today's episode, we're going to dive into a topic that can make or break your marketing success. We're going to be talking all about the importance of showing proof in your communication. Now, why is proof so damn important? Particularly in this digital age, skepticism is at an all-time high. A recent study by Nielsen showed that 92% of our customers, our potential patients, trust recommendations from their friends and family over advertising. Now, no surprises here. But how does this work when you're trying to build trust for somebody who hasn't met you yet or doesn't know some of our existing patients? Well, this is where proof comes in. Now, proof, whether through the use of testimonials or social media, Google reviews or research, this helps to bridge the gap by showing our potential patients that what you do works, not just in theory, but also in practice. Now, here's the objective of this episode. By the end of our time together, you're going to have a really clear understanding of how to effectively use proof in your marketing to build trust, to differentiate yourself from competitors, and ultimately bring more patients into your practice. Now, let's talk about what this looks like when it's done right. When you do this really well, proof will significantly enhance your credibility and your influence. So imagine a really well-structured video testimonial of a patient who's had their life changed by your care. They're not just saying that they're feeling better, but they're sharing their story, okay? They share what's at stake, how they felt beforehand, and the transformation that they've experienced. Now, this kind of proof doesn't just inform, it connects emotionally, okay? It convinces patients that you can deliver the results that they're looking for. Now, for those of you that are Aussies and are all worried about that you won't be able to do any of this, I'm going to make this very much, how do we do this in an APRA-compliant environment as well? I know the Kiwis out there can't do this, but there's certainly ways that we can use proof and even ways that we can use testimonials that won't get us in trouble with APRA, okay? Now, however, when you do this wrong or when you miss out this critical element, the element of proof, without it, our marketing efforts often fall flat. Potential patients might scroll past our ads, our posts. They're unsure that they can trust us. As I mentioned before, skepticism is really, really high as well. Imagine, for instance, trying to convince somebody of the value of your care without showing any evidence. It's really like trying to sell a car but not letting somebody go for a test drive. Without proof, our messages can come across as generic, they can come across as unbelievable, and it's going to leave potential patients, people in your community, unconvinced and unlikely to take action. Okay, so we need to find ways to master proof, and we need to do this in a way that's not going to get us in trouble with our regulation board. Okay, so in today's episode, we're going to explore how you can navigate your way through these pitfalls, how you can create really powerful proof in a way that resonates with your audience, it builds trust, and it positions you as the go-to chiropractor in your community. I'm going to break down different structures or different types of proof. Okay, we'll talk about testimonials all the way to what we're doing, one-on-one with our patients also. Okay, so by the end, you're going to be ready to implement this directly into your marketing. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, here's 5 different ways for you to add more proof into your marketing and your communication. Now, the first one we're going to start with is testimonials. And again, if you're not able to use testimonials in your area, I'm going to certainly show you a way that if you're an Aussie doc, and I know the Kiwis, it's very much the same, ways that we could communicate different forms or use testimonials in a way that wouldn't get us in trouble as well. Now, the best way to do a testimonial without a doubt is a video, because there, again, if it's just a photograph of the person or if it's just written there, is that person actually saying that? Now, again, this is what reviews are all about. So it doesn't have to be video, but if you can, you really want to have this as a video. And clients of mine that do this really well actually have a section of their office that's set up as a video room, or, whether it's their report of findings or the new patient room, There's a camera in there, there's a tripod in there, and everything is ready for them to go very quickly. When the opportunity presents itself, there's nothing that's holding them back, okay? So a dedicated room. Now, I want to walk you through the sorts of questions that you should ask and how you should actually do this. If you are going to be interviewing somebody, just remember that most people really don't like being in front of a camera. They're going to get really shy and nervous, and this will come across as more unbelievable in the testimonial. So we really want to make them feel comfortable. Now, the best way to do this is not to stick a camera immediately in front of their face. In fact, you almost want them to not see the camera. And this means you want to sit kind of knee to knee and have a chat with them. And you want to put the camera off at kind of 45 degrees and to the side. So they're not looking directly in it. And very soon they'll forget that the camera's actually there. Now, when we film it this way, it's actually really nice as the observer as well, because it's like we're listening in on a conversation. Okay, so it's not only nicer for the person that's actually in the video, your patient as well, but it comes across really lovely in terms of from a viewer as well. So camera just set off to the side. Make sure that we've got good audio. So if the camera is kind of much more than, a meter and a half away, we need to make sure that we've got a microphone. Now what you want to do is that you want to ask them a series of questions. Now I suggest that you have these questions printed out on a piece of paper, laminated there on a clipboard, and this can absolutely and should be done by your CA. It doesn't need to be done by you, the chiropractor, at all. Now, first of all, we just want to start with this. What is your name? And what do you do? Hi, I'm Angus. I'm a business coach. I work with chiropractors. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to ask them, what was it that led you making an appointment here at Life Chiropractic? Now, just to jump ahead, what we're actually going to do is that when we edit this video, we're going to take all of those questions out. So it'll be just, hey there, I'm Angus. I'm a business coach. I work with chiropractors, and I made an appointment at Life Chiropractic because I've been suffering with sciatica for the last 5 years after a really crazy CrossFit workout. So we can edit out all of the questions that are being asked here as well. But again, I'm going to take you through these questions because there's particular things that we want to make sure we get from them. The next question we're going to ask is, what is your pain or problem preventing you from doing? Okay, so we want to know, when we ask this question here, we get to find out what's at stake for the person. This is really important. I know that if you've been listening to the podcast for any length of time, then you would have heard me ask this question beforehand. We should be asking the same question in our initial consultations, and we should be coming back to our report of findings. We need to know what's at stake for our patients. Like, Angus, if you don't get this sciatica sorted, what does it mean for you? So in this situation, I might answer something like this. Since I hurt my back, I haven't been able to sleep through the night uninterrupted. I'm noticing that I'm getting crankier with the kids. I'm not exercising. I'm starting to get more of a dad bod, and this is just feels overwhelming and depressing for me. So it's not just about getting rid of my back pain. You can start to see it's an identity thing. And then we want to ask this question, Angus, how does this pain make you feel? Again, even more emotion through here. I feel old and frustrated. Now, when I share these things here, what it does is it helps me to emotionally connect with the audience, or it helps the audience to emotionally connect with me, okay? So the next thing we want to know is, what have you tried before that hasn't worked? Well, I've been to physiotherapists, I've even tried other chiropractors, and I've tried medication. In essence, what we're trying to do here with our testimonial is we're trying to identify what are the biggest objections that might prevent someone from coming and seeing you as a chiropractor. And we want to address those objections and tick them off. So for instance, someone might say, look, I've been to physios, I've tried medication, I've even been to other chiropractors. Why should I come and see you? But if they're listening to me going through mine and they hang on, Angus had been to other chiropractors as well, but he came and saw this one and things were different through there, okay? Next question we want to ask them is, did you have any reservations before coming in to make an appointment? Yeah, I tried chiropractors beforehand. In fact, I felt like I tried everything and I didn't want to go over the same kind of path again. This is a common objection that most people have. I feel like they've tried it all there, okay? Or they might say something like this. To be honest, I was a little bit scared about being adjusted. I'd heard all these crazy things about chiropractors, but coming in here and seeing you guys, it's a beautiful environment. You're really caring. The care is super gentle as well. It doesn't hurt, and I've never been feeling better. When we can start to get that information to come through here again, we're wanting to address the objections of potential patients also, okay? What has your experience been interacting with our staff and the doctor? So this is where we want to get some of the softer things back. The front desk are amazing. It's super convenient here. The parking is easy. I felt like I was really listened to as well. I had a plan laid out for me. I didn't feel like a number. These are the sorts of things that we're going to get when we ask this question also, okay? Now we get into, what have your results been so far? Like, it's only now that we want to get the other side of things. And of course, this is where they're going to share their amazing story, because we're not going to ask somebody for a testimonial if they're not already getting great results as well. The final question that we're going to ask them is, what would you suggest somebody do? If there's somebody out there that's wanting to come along and see a chiropractor, maybe they're suffering with sciatica or maybe some other problems, what would you suggest they do? And in this situation, they're going to say something like this. I would absolutely recommend that you come along and see Dr. JC. She's amazing. The team is wonderful. I just wish that I'd found her sooner. We want them to say that in their particular words, okay? Now, again, this is best done in a video format, but if the person doesn't want to do it on video, or you don't have things set up to do on video, this could all be just interviewed, and you could be recording this just on your iPhone, and then you could be transcribing it out and showing it back to the patient afterwards. And instead of posting this as a video, you could just post this as a photograph of the person and then have their story all there in the caption. You could add it up to a blog post. Again, we're going to talk about all the things that we could do with this. Now, if you're an Aussie doc and you're listening to this and you're thinking, Angus, I can't do any of that, it's not true. There's a number of things that we can do here in Australia with testimonials. Now, I'm going to give you some examples through here. This is straight from the website of APRA. Now, what they don't want us doing is saying things like this: hey, I'm Angus, I'm 47 years of age. I used to have raging sciatica and I went and saw the team at Life Chiropractic and now my sciatica's gone and you should go along too. Anything that kind of mentions the reason that you went in there, okay, and then it being better, they don't like us having. But we can have a testimonial that talks all about the service, okay? So, for instance, I've been coming in to see the team at Life Chiropractic. I felt completely seen and heard. I didn't feel like a number. The front desk are amazing. There's loads of parking here. I'm so thrilled that I'd come along here. I had tried numerous things. I'd been to other chiropractors. I'd tried physiotherapists. I'd tried medication for my problem. Nothing worked until I came along and saw the team here at Life Chiropractic. If you're looking for a chiropractor, you should come and see this team. They're amazing. Now again, is that testimonial as powerful as the one of me talking about the before and after of my sciatica? No, it's not. But is it effective? Yes, it's way better than nothing, because it's a real person saying this is how amazing that it is. Now, remember, in scenarios where we don't know how to act, what we do is we look for third-party edification. We look for testimonials. What are other people doing? And if there's a whole bunch of content that you're putting out there that's helpful content, connection content, we've talked about this, and I see a bunch of people that are just saying how amazing you are, even without mentioning their symptoms, this is a really powerful way for you to be kind of, sharing testimonials. So you can, as Aussies, share testimonials, and as long as they just don't mention those symptoms. Again, in practice, when you're wanting to do this, I would make sure that I was saying, hey, listen, we can't be talking about your sciatica. You can talk all about, the things that you tried beforehand. You could talk all about how lovely the team is here as well, but we're not going to have a lot of talk about your sciatica, your headaches, your colicky baby, whatever it is there too. So this is the testimonial. Now, what do we do with a testimonial? There's several things that we should be doing with it. It should absolutely be going up on your website, and there can be a whole section there called testimonials there. You should be posting this to your social media, so across, Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, wherever it is there. This should be transcribed, and you could have a testimonial book. We had these in the days where we were allowed to at the front of my practice. We would give them to new patients as they were sitting, getting ready for their initial consultation. They were reading all our wonderful success stories before coming in. You could be creating a patient of the week or patient of the month. And so this one testimonial should be repurposed in many different areas: the video, an image, patient of the month, and a book. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything with this, okay? Again, if you don't have a video, it could be just a photograph, and you could be asking all of these questions. So that's testimonials, okay? The second way that we can really maximize proof is with reviews. And the granddaddy of these is still a Google review. Now, I have an entire training on this. I mentioned it in a recent episode. If you want me to dive deep into this, where I talk to you about what questions to ask, how I go about asking this, the follow-up is where the success is for a Google review. Many of you tell me, look, I ask for Google reviews, but our patients never do it. And that was exactly the same with mine, which is why we had a really good follow-up system in place for this. Now, when you get this follow-up system in and playing, lots of the people will start leaving reviews, but we've got to know how to go about it, how to ask the right question, and how to, in fact, I'm going to just touch on this in a moment. I'll do that right now. Whenever we're asking for a review, whether it be a Google review, whether it be a testimonial, we need to position this as it's not a promotion for my practice. We need to position this as an avenue that helps our patient help more people just like them. Okay, so we want to ask, so even if it's just a conversation where, I'm checking in with a practice member at the beginning, what's new or different? And they say, look, I just had the best weekend. No sciatica at all. In fact, I was running around with the kids and I actually went for a little bit of a jog and did some exercise. And it's the first time I've been able to do this in 6 months. The first thing we do is celebrate. We want to do that. And often we miss this as chiropractors because we see these types of things happening all the time. So we want to celebrate there too. And then we want to ask a favor. So it would be, hey, Angus, can I ask a favor? Yes. One of the ways that many people in our community get to learn about chiropractic care, one of the things that builds some confidence is hearing stories just like yours. Would you mind after the adjustment just leaving a small Google review about your experience here? Or would you mind if Mackenzie sat you down and just did a really brief interview, put together a case study about your story? We'll let you have a look at the video beforehand, and if you're not okay with it, we'll change it or not post it there too. But we know there's a lot of people in our community here that are really suffering with sciatica, and most of them just don't understand just how helpful chiropractic could be. Would that be okay? So we made it all about helping other people. Now, when you do this and you share your mission, then most people are going to say yes. But we've all got those crotchety patients that we know that, just don't ask them. We know the type of people to ask. And if we make it about helping more people like them, then the vast majority, and probably 8 or 9 out of 10 people, are going to go out of their way to really help. Okay. Now, again, if you want my Google review training, many of you reached out recently and you'd like to know how do we go about asking for Google reviews, then send me an email and say, Angus, I'd like the Google review training. But again, the great thing about a Google review training, the Google reviews, particularly if you're an Aussie doc as well, is that we can't take down Google reviews. And so if somebody happens to get on there and say, my sciatica was horrible and now it's amazing, we can't get those taken down. And so AHPRA understands that they're pretty impotent when it comes to having control over chiropractors for their Google reviews. We can take down Facebook posts. We can take down many reviews as well, but Google reviews that we can't. And so you want to have a lot of wonderful stories. It needs to be an overwhelming weight of reviews there. Your goal should absolutely be 100 5-star reviews, and you need to be moving to that really quickly. And again, those reviews shouldn't just live on Google. Those reviews, depending on what they say and what area of the world, they should be repurposed onto your website. They should be repurposed onto your social media. Again, what we're after here is consistency and an overwhelming weight of evidence that lets people know that the work that you do actually works. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have is lots of testimonials. The second thing we're going to do is have lots of reviews, and Google reviews is the granddaddy for you to be doing. The third thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be having videos or photographs of you just working with people. Okay, now it's been said, never tell somebody when you can show them. Okay, now right now, particularly on social media, people love watching videos of other people getting adjusted. Now, this is not just crack videos. I'm not just saying, big Y-strap, heavy manual adjusting, whether it be kind of gentle work that you're doing with babies, whether it be the flexion distraction that you work. I've even got a client that I work with who does a whole bunch of knee distraction and, spinal, non-surgical spinal distraction as well. Just him showing that work there gets loads of engagement. So this should be 15 to 45-second videos if you're just adjusting somebody's spine. Now, if you want some examples of, I think, somebody who does this the best is have a look at Dr. Cody Hanish, Hanish. Have a look at him on Instagram or TikTok. I think he does one of the best jobs of this, and particularly does it because he's an Aussie doc. So he can't have people coming in and saying, again, giving testimonials of what has changed for them. They're just short videos of him doing his work. Now, why they are so effective is for 2 reasons, is the look of joy and amazement and bliss on the patient's face after they've been adjusted, and the look of amazement and fun on Cody's. He just loves adjusting people. He laughs as much as they do. Like he is a heavy manual adjuster there too. And so when there is that kind of cavitation sound and patients look surprised and amazed and then just this relief, he gets this beautiful look on his face also. Okay, so just showing your work, particularly if what you do is something that's different. If you're maybe a network or a gentle practitioner and you're showing the spinal wave that comes with an entrainment, this stuff gets loads of engagement. Maybe I've worked with other chiropractors who just show the change in breath that happens with the work that we do, but we want to be showing the adjustment. I had a wonderful video that I saw from a client recently where he was just doing a seated cervical Gonstead adjustment on an upper cervical spine of a patient there too. Beautiful adjustment, and the look of bliss on the patient's face afterwards was exactly what you would want to show. Now, don't show your work where, sometimes do babies cry during an adjustment? Yes, they do. Sometimes when we're showing adjustment, is it uncomfortable for patients? Yes. Well, the techniques I use, sometimes it was. We don't want to be showing that. We're showing the very best side of the work that we are doing there too, okay? So this could be a video with what worked best, but if not, if it's just a photograph of you adjusting somebody's spine, maybe just setting up to adjust somebody's thoracic spine, and then the caption through there, we could tell a little bit of the story. I'm adjusting the middle part of the back here. This adjustment through here often feels wonderful. My patients love this adjustment through here, and we often build up a lot of tension through because of our stressful lives, because of all the time that we spend at a desk or all the time that we spend on our mobile devices through here. And this adjustment here helps to really relieve that. If you find that you have lots of tension through this part of your spine there too, we'd love to help. That's the sort of thing that we could share through there. Again, imagine that somebody's scrolling their way through your socials. They've got testimonial videos. They see you doing your work there as well. You're sharing your helpful content. So you're building authority and positioning yourself as an expert. You're showing them behind the scenes. So you're building an emotional relationship with them as well. So if it's not a video, it could be just a photograph. Now, again, I've got a client inside of Community Influencer who just, again, will take photographs of her patient. And the caption might just be, I've been looking after Bob for 10 years and I'm so grateful to have had his trust over that time. Love the amazing patients that I get to care for on a weekly basis. Again, so what does this tell our community? That he's a smiling patient, a smiling chiropractor. They've had a relationship of 10 years. She must be doing something right. These are all the subtle messages that come through when we're sharing, work of what we do, okay? So the third thing, remember, testimonials. Then we're going to have reviews. And the third thing we're going to do is we're going to be showing lots of our work in either video format or photographs of our work, okay? The fourth thing that you should be doing if you wanted to show proof is you should be regularly reporting on and sharing research. Sharing published research is a great way of showing proof, okay? Now remember, research is the language of trust. It's a language of authority. So when we actually print that out and we take somebody through it, whether it be a case study, it must be published research. Make sure that you know what your registration board's guidelines are on this as well. But if it's published and if it's peer-reviewed, then they're going to love you sharing this also, okay? So keep up to date and share this. Now, pick out reviews that showcase a level of the work that you do. So for instance, maybe it's a Gonstead technique that you're talking through there too, and then say, this is the same technique we do in our practice. This is the same assessment that we do. Okay. So again, we can borrow from third parties. Published research is a really fantastic way of you showing proof. And this should be something that you do again, whether it be in a video format or maybe it's just in a post, a carousel that you're going through. Maybe it's a photograph of you just reading some research, and in the caption, what you're actually doing is you're breaking down, okay? Now, the final way, and I love to do this in terms of showing proof, is just with our table talk. Now, too often chiropractors ignore this because we think about sharing success stories for us to bring new people in there, and we completely ignore our existing patients. When we're sharing case studies, research, sharing reviews, sharing amazing things that are happening in our practice, what we're doing is we're telling stories. And stories are a really powerful way for us to educate our patients. And because we get to kind of educate under the radar, most of us don't go along to the chiropractor or our dentist to be educated, yet we love stories. Our brains are hardwired for stories. And so what I would do each week is I'd pick one or two stories and I'd just repeat them throughout the week. And so it would come up in the conversation. Invariably, I'd be checking in what's new or different with you, and they'd say, Angus, how are you doing? And I'd say, oh, great, I'm feeling a bit excited at the moment. I had an amazing patient in this morning, last week, whenever that was. And then I'd just share their story. And I'd go through each of those elements that I talked about in the testimonial before, because I wanted the patient to get emotionally engaged with the story. So not just, I had this amazing patient that came in who had sciatica this morning and, it's not there anymore. That's something to share with them. But I wanted to let them know, I had this incredible woman in this morning here too who'd been, suffering from tinnitus. That's that kind of vibration, ringing sound in the ear through there too. It was getting to the stage where she was finding it really difficult to work. She hadn't been along to a movie in 4 years because every time she was in kind of a silent area there, she just couldn't cope with it. She'd not been sleeping there too. We'd found that she had some areas of real stress in her upper part of the spine, and we've been caring for those over the last 4 months. And she's just had an entire week without tinnitus for the first time in 4 years as well. In fact, she knew this because she went along to a movie. So we would tell the whole story, okay, get them emotionally engaged in it. Now, when I would share stories like this, it would have a level of enthusiasm. The patients would love it. They wanted to be a part of this. And often what it was something that really encouraged referrals, because someone might say, I know somebody that's got tinnitus. I didn't realize that you could help with that. And then we would go into a whole process of how we would encourage that person to come in, okay? So I would share stories. I love this because it kept me on track as well. I wasn't talking about the weather or the football or other things. I was just sharing stories. And my patients used to love being a part of this. They wanted to know. They got used to me sharing stories. So this was a really simple way for me to educate and engage and keep enthusiasm really high in the practice as well. So let's review those, okay? Proof, first of all, is incredibly important because we live in a skeptical world, okay, more so than ever, and particularly in the online world, skepticism is high, trust is low, and trust is low particularly in healthcare, and sadly it's really low for us as chiropractors. And so if we're not using proof, we're missing an essential element that helps to convert people into care, okay? There'll be something that's missing for them if they don't have these elements of proof in there. So no, regardless of where you work in the world, there are elements of proof that we can use, and you need to understand what your registration board says. Please don't just say, I'm not going to do this at all. Find out which avenues it is, even if it's just photographs of you as smiley patients. If that's all that you can do, and most of you can certainly tell stories inside your practice. AHPRA is happy for us to be telling stories inside our practice one-to-one because they understand that we can give context to it. So you should have testimonials, ideally video, but if not video, then photographs. Make sure that you pre-prepare those questions. And again, ask them, okay? Edit those questions out there, have the camera off to the side. Make sure you're getting lots of reviews, Google reviews. I know there's lots of different ways, Facebook reviews, different things, but Google reviews is still the granddaddy at the time of me recording this. Have videos or photographs of you doing your work, just showing the wonderful results. Make sure that you're sharing research. Pick research that's relevant to the people you're talking to and relevant to the care that you deliver. And finally, make sure that you're sharing this table talk one-to-one, okay? Now, in wrapping this up, one of the keys to this is absolutely consistency. This is not something that you want to do this month and then just forget about it. This is something week in and week out, month in and month out. You want to be overwhelming your community with proof of how valuable that you are. There's a reason that we see testimonials all over advertising is because it works. Proof is powerful. And this is an element of your communication that you need to master both in-house and also through your external marketing. Your community needs you getting really good with proof because it will help you save and change more lives. As always, folks, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. Keep sharing proof of the amazing work that you do. And I look forward to seeing you back here again next week. Take care. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.